All right, guys, Shotty T here, Alliance War video. As you guys saw that last video, that last war was pretty tough. Like I said, we were mismatched by 13 million rating, and that pretty much locked us into Platinum 4 for this season. So effectively, you can say that this war doesn't really count. But you know me, I'm always gonna, even in the off season, I try to, I just like war. So, and plus, still want to get some. It's nice to finish the season with a win, so that way you can gain some momentum towards next season. Because every win you get, even if you're locked in a tier, you give yourself a little bit of a head start going into the next season by having a higher alliance rating, which will open up the door to get you into higher tiers and multipliers to make it easier to get goals like Platinum 3. So, because we've been in tier 4 pretty much this whole time. So it's only a matter of time before we get to tier 3 if we keep winning more than we're losing. So first fight here, and Protect is the global once again, or it might be Bulwark. I believe it's Protect though. But we got a Hit Monkey. Now earlier this season, I faced him with Warlock on this node, and he almost got me there with a 3-piece combo. Like took more than half of my health. So I knew to take this fight just a little bit more careful. And also just in case I do get hit, I got clarity for that SP2 heal if necessary. So the thing about Hit Monkey is that it's not that hard to play against. Is that whenever you knock him down, it's a good chance he's gonna purify that debuff that you just placed on him. And if he has that rolling purple meter, that means he has a chance to evade the next attack that you have. And if he has that orange meter, that means the very next debuff you apply, he's gonna immediately shrug it off. Sometimes he immediately shrug it off upon knockdown, but if it's still up, then he'll immediately shrug it off the next any debuff you apply, with his parry, bleed, whatever. So once you figure that out, he's really not a hard matchup. His SP1 is the preferred special to coax out of there. So that fight went well. But now that you saw the intro fight, now you get a chance to see the rest of the planned fights there. So there you go. Now there we go. There's the key opponent there. Kind of slowed him down. So I actually ended up not fighting Void, but just kind of preview that. So that Immortal Abomination will be the challenge fight. So I did duel this profile ahead of time, and you guys see it's a $41 million, not 41 million, but 41 million rating, and we're also 41 million. So it's a dead even matchup finally, and we usually do pretty well when it's dead even, or sometimes we're slightly underdog. And I did duel that profile before going into the war, and it did have willpower, so that's the reason why I brought Warlock. And of course I brought Warlock for this fight as well. So here we're just gonna try to keep him on his side of the board, because the key here is the reparry, but the reparry doesn't always work. And what you're gonna end up doing is having him do his heavy attack instead, which will get you in the corner pretty quickly if you're not careful. So we're just gonna rely a little bit on intercept here and there when there's an opening to do so. And again, we try to reparry, but he heavies the second attempt instead of the light attack. Probably should have knocked him down before doing the SB2, but again, it's no urgency here. And of course, he does have willpower as well. This profile does. But so far, this fight's going pretty textbook. Now he's starting to throw more heavies and pushing me to my side of the board. So I'm just going to hit into his block, gain some space back. And then we saw an opening there for an intercept. We took it. And now he's back on his side of the board. So really, It's a lot of little things I do in a lot of these fights to try to stay out of trouble, because being cornered is, like I said, it's not a good thing in general unless you have Quake. So you want to try to stay on your side of the board as much as you can. Um, some opponents don't allow you to hit into the block, but at the same time, some of those opponents are ones that are less likely to get you cornered either. So I don't really think there are many opponents that you can't hit into the block that also easily can get you cornered. So if the game creates something like that, I mean, they have nodes like that in some cases where you can make that combination happen, like explosive personality, and you have like I don't know, a tiger or something. Somebody that can easily get you cornered because he has like elongated attacks. But anyway, so this node here is a little tricky. You got your little power transfer. So whenever that meter runs out, if I have more of a bar of power than the opponent, more power than the opponent, they just steal it from me. So I kind of got threw myself off there. And plus he has unstoppable heavy. So a lot of times the key to fighting Mordo is to bait out his heavy attack and punish it. But on this node, you can't bait a heavy and punish. So it's a pretty decent placement. So especially if you struggle fighting against Mordo, this could be a pretty challenging fight. So you're gonna have to be able to intercept, and you're gonna have to pretty much heavy him in while he's blocking, and again keep him in the corner. Like I said, it's harder to pull this off when he's not in the corner, because he's just gonna keep retreating backwards. I mean, he kind of helps you out by doing that. So there we go. All right, so next we got Cord. Now I mentioned in the previous video, I'm either gonna use Quake or I'm gonna use like Storm Pyramid X, but another option I forgot to tell you guys is the White Magneto pre-fight. So we had a teammate bring the White Magneto pre-fight, and what that does, all of your stuns are passive, and of course passive stuns cannot be shrugged. So effectively, this is just a regular parry 3-hit combo fight. So there you go. So metal and hero attackers, that's the caveat. So I just gotta make sure I tell you guys that, because I don't want you to think that you can just bring in Corvus, or, well, he's a metal, I believe. But I don't want you to think you can just bring in any champ and pull this off. So basically a villain that's not metal, you won't be able to pull this off. You'll have to fight normal. So let's see, a villain that's not metal would be like Magneto. Perfect example, the regular Magneto. So regular Magneto, you can't do this. So anyway, so parry 3-hit combo. And for some reason, when you parry with that, it kind of bounces you backwards a little bit, but it's not that bad. You still got enough reach to get your first attack in. It's kind of weird, just kind of bounces you backwards like that. So it just feels good to have an answer for this node now. Like even if you don't have the most ideal Cord counter, as long as you got someone that deals energy damage for their attack, like a Claire or Torch or Magneto, but like I said, he's not a villain, not a metal champ, nor is he a hero. But if you got your standard, like Havoc, even Iron Man Infinity War, because he's metal, and his first medium attack is non-contact. Because light contacts, you don't deal with thorn damage. It's basically your medium attack. So if you got champs that have medium attacks that don't make contact, then if they're metal or hero, you can pretty much use the White Magneto fight and keep this fight simple. Parry 3-hit combo. The trickiest thing you really have to do is just evade his SP1. So, but he's been in the game long enough where that should be an easy thing to do now. So, but I know some people still struggle with that. And sometimes if my spacing isn't right, sometimes I may mistime my evade, especially if I'm in the corner, as you guys saw from a video much earlier this season. So that fight went pretty straightforward. So next we got Killmonger. This is one of the reasons why I brought Medusa. because basically her medium attacks cause armor break. So half of the battle facing Killmonger on this node is the reverb. So with the armor break, there's one less thing to worry about. I thought about using I do end up using the vulnerability boost. I didn't recall if I did use it or not, only because of the just the fact that it's the last war of the season. But still, playing every war to win. So I decided to put the invulnerability boost because I wanted to give myself that safeguard in case I pushed him over 3 bars of power. And of course, obviously, I got to make sure I don't get hit with his normal attacks. So I went ahead and armor shattered him. So his reverb is going to be away for a while, or his vibranium armor. And plus, I'll have a chance to bleed him. So we're just going to fight aggressively. Like, we don't care if we push the 3 bars of power. And we will still try to bait SP2. We don't want to intentionally push the 3 bars of power if we can control it. And I was actually trying to throw another SP1, but I pushed myself over 2 bars of power there. And luckily, I resisted both of his heavy attacks, but what it did, it gave him power. And again, as long as I don't get hit, I don't have to worry about the SP1, the SP3 damage. And plus, since he hasn't hit me, he's not going to bleed me either, because he hasn't had any accumulated. But luckily, he just never threw the SP3. I mean, if we're just going to be passive, that's totally fine. But I wasn't in trouble there as long as I wasn't getting hit. All right, so next fight, we got Darkhawk. Another reason why I brought Medusa, but she shuts down robots. So here we go. All right, we're just going to stare at him a little bit before we jump in. Just thinking about life choices. All right. All right, so there we go. All right, could have got an intercept there, analyzing that. But we shut him down, so double medium SP1. Don't have to worry about that auto block. Just gonna jump in. Plus he has recoil. That wasn't quite an intercept. Now there it is. So we got rid of the protection. I don't think it was registering anyway because I shut him down. I wasn't really paying attention at the time. I wasn't really paying attention on this replay. So just gonna keep trying to intercept him at least. There we go. And now we're gonna throw the SP2 to just demolish him. Or at least we could have done it because we had that Fury. Not sure why I didn't throw it there. Again, you watch stuff after the fact, and sometimes you can't explain the decisions. All right, but we still got him down. All right, so here's the fight of the war here. The fight that mattered. So, as I said, I do with this profile. So he had willpower, so that means I could parry first. Now, first of all, he starts off with three poisons, but because of the ebb and flow, he immediately purifies those. So really the thing you got to worry about is the combination of your attacks and his attacks, like not into the block, but actual physical contact. Once it adds up to 10, he gains a poison debuff. So for every poison debuff, he gains extra attack rating. So the block damage is going to be much worse. So the idea here is to just keep parrying him. For like every 3 or 4 parries, I'm going to throw a heavy attack. So that way I can keep him under a bar of power and minimize him throwing specials. I probably could have pushed him to 2 bars of power at one point. I mean, I know that SP2 does do pretty good damage, but the reason why is just to try to get myself out of the corner to minimize that. But so far I'm doing a good job. Not intercepting right now, just keeping it simple. Because the redouble determination, he's going to gain a higher power rate when he's bleeding or if he's armor broken. So that's the reason why I'm parrying a little bit more frequently when he's bleeding. As you can see, he hasn't gotten to his first poison yet, but he's about to at the next hit. And Now, a trick that you can do is that if you can intercept, then you can eventually get that poison debuff purified. So if you ever fight him with a non-standard counter and the poisons get out of control, if you can get an intercept, then you can get rid of those poisons. But you have to be able to intercept, of course, and you have to have a poison immune champ, ideally. Now, Archangel, I've seen can work here, but it's very tricky because he can turn those poisons into neurotoxins. But you got to get to that poison first. If he's purifying at the very beginning, then you're not going to get a chance to apply the neurotoxin because you have to bleed him first. And if you bleed him, or if you just make contact with him in general, you have a chance to be poisoned. So Warlock is pretty much the best counter here. Or if you just intercept with another poison immune champ to get rid of the poisons on a regular basis. I guess Claire in poison mode could work, but it's either Warlock or Quake. You guys saw the previous video with Quake. Quake was less stressful overall. The fight wasn't as long. So we're going to go ahead and throw the SP3, drain power, and also heal back some of that block damage I took. So far, so good. We're just moseying right along. Time is not an issue. But for some reason, I decided to get impatient and decided, okay, I want to try to intercept this guy. And Warlock is hard to medium intercept. It's easy to light intercept when you're backdrafting in the corner. But for some reason, I decided to, here we go, we're going to try to intercept. But that medium, it just has such a long wind up. It's hard. So I kind of almost killed myself doing that. So we're just going to scrap that idea. I don't know why we tried it anyway. Time really wasn't an issue. And then he throws the SP1. I didn't expect that. I was hoping that his power drained enough. The SP1 kind of follows you a little bit. Seems like it's a little challenging to evade completely. You have to be pretty far back to avoid getting touched by it. All right, so like I said, we go there. I think we do fight Void. Like I said, just didn't record it because you see Claire, she lost a little health there. But it's really no big deal because Claire's going to heal herself back from this fight here against Man-Thing. We're just going to apply a 20% boost here and a health boost. And we're going to apply an attack boost. So why not? Didn't realize I boosted this much for this fight. It's really not. I think I did it because he's a rank 3. I think that's why. Yeah, he is a rank 3 Man-Thing. So I didn't, because her damage output isn't the greatest. So I didn't want to time out. So you never know until you fight the champ for the first time or know whether to determine if a boost is necessary. So better to be safe than sorry. Because I definitely wasn't boosting because I was worried about getting hit. It was just from the timing aspect. So I really technically shouldn't apply the health boost. But so far, we're less than a minute in. We've taken about a minute, 20% of his health. So really, think about it, that's on pace for a 5-minute fight. So it's really those boosts looks like they were needed. Now, if I really wanted to ramp up the damage, I would go into the incinerate mode. But the problem there is I risk the chance of being poisoned. So that's the reason why I'm in the poison mode majority of the fight. So now I'm starting to get ahead of pace. So I like to use this as a tutorial to myself to figure out, okay, if I only use a 10% boost or if I don't boost at all, can I still one-shot this without timing out with Claire? And so far, the jury's still up in the air. But as I'm watching, as you guys are, we'll get a chance to find out that answer together. Because what I don't really look into as I'm fighting live is how long the fight took, unless it took me to the last minute. So I don't believe this fight took me to the last minute because I would remember that. But we're halfway done and we're 2 minutes into the fight. So That means we're on pace to have it finished with exactly 1 minute left. But then again, I do have assassins, so that's going to ramp up the damage a little bit more towards the end. So if I had to guess, if I was a betting man, just not knowing how much time was left, I would say that this fight would probably end like 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's my guess. So if you guys want to place your wagers over or under, if you think it's going to be over or under 130 when this fight is left. And sometimes you just got to keep yourself entertained when you're recording videos. All right, so as you can see, those armor breaks are pretty much healing me throughout. So like I said, I wasn't worried about health. It was more about the attack. And plus, every time I throw that SP2, he has buff immunity, so he's not gaining that regeneration at the end. But he wouldn't have done it anyway because he's unawakened. So I'm not sure why they placed the unawakened man thing here. Because the awakened version is the one that has regeneration every time he throws a special once his health is below 50%. So it's kind of odd placement, but still a lengthy fight. So, but it's not, the degree of difficulty is not that high. But I think I said 1 minute and 30. So if you guys said over 130, you are the winner. You get a free video or a subscription to my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All right. So next we got Apocalypse. So this is a new fight for me as far as the champion combination. Normally, if I see an Apocalypse on this node, I'm using Sorcerer Supreme. But of course, we couldn't afford to bring her this war. So this would be a good opportunity to try with someone else. And this is probably part of the reason why I did my health and attack boost, because I wasn't sure about this fight, and the block damage from this SP1 is pretty significant. But turns out on this particular node, the block damage just isn't that high, because most of the time you're facing Apocalypse on the boss fight where they have the highest attack bonus. So if it's on a regular node, SP1 block damage isn't that bad. So I can deal with 3% per SP1 because I'm going to out damage that eventually. So yeah, and plus I can dex the last hit. So I can just keep it simple there. We're going to have him in poison mode. Just keep, that way I can parry him. This is the one immunity that he can't gain immunity to. So that way I can always, went ahead and put him into an incinerate mode just to get a little bit more damage, and eventually he's going to become immune to incinerate also. So I see why people place him here, because he gets immune to 2 debuffs, but the one debuff he's not immune to is poison. But not a lot of people bring high poison attackers to war. But that's why Claire's so great, because she has 3 different debuffs she can apply to you. So if I don't think there's no champ that's immune to all 3 debuffs. Well, Iceman. You got Iceman. He's fully immune to all 3. Of course, you got Emma in diamond form. Of course, you got champs that can always shrug off buffs, but that doesn't mean they're immune to it. So, but yeah. So this fight, again, the block damage is not that bad, not as bad as I thought it would be. If I wasn't boosted, it would be like 5%, 5% per SP1, but that would still outpace me. And as you guys see, I'm about to start work, so I got a group text in the chat I'm finishing this war before I finish my main path before work starts. So we're just getting out. All right, so another SP1 that took about 3-4% health. And again, we went back to the bleed mode to see if we can heal some health back. Just to finish this fighting style. Because I am still thinking about the boss fight, because I plan on using Claire for the boss fight. So I'm trying to heal, get back as much health as possible, minimize potion usage for that last fight. But of course, I'm not gaining enough power, because I'm only gaining power because of whenever she applies a debuff that you're immune to, she gains a little bit of power, but it's not enough to put me over the top. So unfortunately, did not gain any more health that fight, but it's all good. So next fight, we got Domino. Normally, you'll see someone put a white Magneto pre-fight, but Warlock is such a great Domino counter, it wasn't needed. So the key here, this is why I said his medium intercept is tough to pull off, but his light intercept is on point. Like the backdraft light counter, and you can just, and this is just textbook against Domino. Against most people, you can dash back light counter, but with Warlock especially, you're almost guaranteed. You're guaranteed not to miss, especially if you dash back. As long as you don't dash back too soon and then get struck by that second part of that medium, you'll be fine. So here we're just backdraft light counter. And the only thing I really have to worry about is whenever she gets lucky, is just to keep my combo short. So that way I don't get evade, countered, and destroyed. So I'm always conscious of that throughout the fight. So as you can see, she's lucky. I'm going to keep the combo short. All right, now she's unlucky. We'll do a full combo. Well, she's not lucky. And plus, I'm a tech champ, so I'll never become unlucky. So another shorter combo attempt. And like I said, if I tried to engage a full combo right then and there, I would have got counter comboed, and who knows what could have happened. She could have landed a perfect attack. It got me stunned, stun locked, and then she probably could have threw an SP2 and killed me. So that's why she's dangerous if you're not careful when she's lucky. A lot of unlucky things can happen. So really the main thing that's really dealing me damage is a little bit of critical failure, but I did have a little bit of brute force at one point. So again, she evaded. I just stopped the combo. And there we go. So not bad. So lost 40% health there. All right. So now we check the war standings before I go into there. So we're up by 10 in our battle group, and we're up by 11 with one fight to go. So the war is won. So I think this is around my lunchtime now because the boosts have expired. So I just decided to not boost. It's possible to one-shot this guy without boosting with Claire, especially as a rank 565 defender. And I had a rank 3, 6-star. So it's really just a matter of just not messing up. So I don't have that extra cushion with the health and the attack boost, champion boost that is. So her special 2 deals exactly 8 hits. So I had it calculated just right to start it when the rock stats were at 7. And then we just use the rest of the bleed mode to control the rock stats as I build power. As you can see, I'm at 20 stacks now, so I can't gain any more passive power. So the idea here is to just go ahead and discharge those 20 mystic charging in the form of the SP3, the reset. The SP3 will end up dealing more damage that way. And I purposely took a hit into the block so that way I can go to 3 bars of power. So when I throw the SP3, it puts them again at 15 stacks. So again, little stuff I do, but I always want to point it out while you guys are watching. That way you know why I do what I do at times. So he's exactly at 15 stacks, and we carry on. So now we can go back and rebuilding passive power while keeping his rock stats under control. All right, so far so good. There we go. And I guess we're just gonna go to another SP. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to another SP3 here with 15 charges. Not ideal, but he was at 14 stacks. I figured this is a good opportunity to do that. It was too many hits on the combo meter to do an SP2, so another good chunk there. The more mystic charges, the more damage your SP3 does. So far, again, textbook, we're ahead of pace as far as timing out. So again, as long as I don't mess up, we're good. And right, we mess up. So sometimes the rabbit has the gun. So yeah, the rabbit had the gun that time. He intercepted me with a special when I tried to hit him to his block. So that was kind of a pro player type move by the computer. But as we got a chip in the poker saying, if you got a chip in a chair. So I got a tick of health, and I still got a fighting chance. I've taken down a thing, not on this node, but I've taken things down on the stun reflect node with 1% health before. And I was hoping to throw an SB3 right there, or SB2 right there, but I gained too much power from that passive power. So unfortunately, I do not heal there. I probably could have taken a combo on purpose because it wasn't going to kill me, because I'm awakened. She has that little death touch strike active. So if I thought about it, I would have just did that instead. I would have ended up with more health and more cushion to take block damage. But I wasn't thinking about that at the time. And unfortunately, I get KO'd. So we finished them off. Not going to show the rest of that fight. But we won the war, finished the season, Platinum 4. It was actually ranked 57. Had a couple people that cheated. NY718 was one of them. But I hope you guys enjoyed the season. Going to be some off-season videos. Please like, share.